how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and today is going to be our Smackdown review plus Survivor Series predictions. So essentially, I'm not going to review all of SmackDown. I'm not going to go through everything, but what I will do is, if it's pertinent to Survivor Series, I will fold it into my Survivor Series prediction. So it's essentially a prediction show with the occasional with the occasional review. So, but first, hit me with the like button, please. Thank you. Also, hit me with a subscribe. I appreciate that. If you're already subscribed and you stayed subscribed, I appreciate it. Thank you kindly. So let's go through this show. So they announced shortly before SmackDown that there will be a dual brand battle royal to set off Survivor Series. They didn't say whether it was going to be men or women. They didn't say how many people were going to be in it. But I'm going to guess that usually when they do battle royals, it's at least 15 people. So I'm going to say there's going to be a men's battle royal because I think most of the women are either they probably don't have 15 women. So it's probably going to be 15 men, which means probably be 7 from Raw, 8 from SmackDown, or 8 from Raw, 7 from SmackDown, or something like that. I actually do have a guess of who's going to win this match, and I think that the winner is likely to be Murphy, or because I think they've been trying to put some steam behind Murphy. He did beat Seth Rollins on SmackDown in a really good match, except for he's wrestling his Kenny Omega style, which is essentially he's just throwing, spamming knee strikes. I really wish he would do something else. Like, I really hate that. And when a lot of people kind of got on Murphy about the whole he's trying to be like Kenny Omega stuff, and I didn't see it when he was the cruiserweight champion, but I do kind of see it now. You know, the match with Rollins kind of gave it away, because I remember I was really upset that Kenny Omega was knee spamming against, I think it was Penta LZOM or Pentagon Jr. And I kind of saw it, the whole knee the V triggers spamming. I kind of saw what's the name doing it, Murphy doing it. But you know, so Murphy is getting a little bit of a push, and I can see that it kind of would make sense for him to win the battle royal. I really don't know who else would be a good option. You know, you don't have any giants or anything like that to push. It's probably going to be full of Apollo Crew, Ziggler level guys. So I can see Murphy, you know, easily winning that, and then maybe, or Daniel Bryan can win it. You know, because Daniel Bryan's not on the card either, and maybe it'll be, you know, a part of Daniel Bryan becoming the Intercontinental Champion, or gaining up to that point. But I'm going to go with Murphy to win the dual brand battle royal. So the first match listed is after the battle royal, of course, is the men's 5 versus on 5 Survivor Series elimination match. So Raw's team is Keith Lee, Riddle, AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, and Sheamus. The SmackDown team is Jey Uso, King Corbin, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Otis. So Otis was just named to the SmackDown team. He didn't have to win a match to get on the team, because Adam Pearce was allowed to pick one person on each men's team and each women's team, even though he didn't pick anybody for the Raw team or the SmackDown team. I mean, nobody for the Raw teams. He didn't pick a woman. Well, he did. He picked Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. He got to pick them. So I guess my nitpick is thrown out. You know, Pierce did get to just assign people to teams, which of course Natalya had a good point later on about, well, if you could just pick people, you know, pick me. She was saying. So Otis is going to be on the Survivor Series team. It fits. They didn't put Big E on this team, which tells me that the Raw team is likely to win. And plus, I decided that because they put so much emphasis on the Raw team, that the Raw team is more likely to win. Plus, I do believe that either Keith Lee or Sheamus is likely to be Drew McIntyre's first opponent post Survivor Series. They've been telling this story with Sheamus. Could they go with Sheamus McIntyre? Absolutely. But I think they're probably going to go with Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre, at least for TLC, and maybe also at the Royal Rumble. I like that idea. I think that's where they should go with it. And, you know, maybe have Keith Lee in the running to win the Royal Rumble. Who knows? But I'm going to go with the Raw Survivor Series team, even though, and I think part of this is not just that they've been putting a lot of emphasis on them, but also the SmackDown team just got filled. They have not been putting any emphasis on the SmackDown team. The Raw team has been trying to work together, find ways to work together, and that's a storyline that can be paid off in the body of this match. Is the SmackDown team is obviously going to end up falling apart due to guys like Kevin Owens and Otis being on the same team with Corbin and Rollins. Then Uso was also on the team, and he's sort of a loose cannon. So I'm definitely going to go with Team Raw. The next is the 5-on-5 Women's Survivor Series match. The SmackDown team is Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Natalya, Bayley, and Bianca Belair. Adam Pearce actually picked Bayley for this team. She didn't have to win a match. She got in based off of her resume, her reputation, which makes sense. If you're going to give a spot to anyone, Bayley is somebody that you can't really argue with them just being given a spot. Bayley was a champion for 400 plus days. She deserves to represent SmackDown. Plus, she's the only one that's got any real brand loyalty because she's the only one that was on SmackDown from last year. So we're gonna go. That's a really good thing. They're telling the story with Bayley being quote unquote the captain. It's how that goes. It's just everybody has to be the captain. You know how that works. The women's Raw team is Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Peyton Royce, Lana, and Lacey Evans. Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans are alternates because Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose were taken out of the match. Dana Brooke by a kayfabe attack by Mia Yim, and not Peyton Royce, but Mandy Rose by a legitimate attack from Nia Jax, who broke. I believe she broke. No, she didn't break her wrist. That was Chelsea Green. That was somebody else. But doesn't matter. Nia Jax is a very violent woman, and she hurts people. So I think that they didn't really do that much building of this match on SmackDown. They basically just completed the team for SmackDown, which basically saw Bayley trying to round up the troops and being overly excited, and her kind of stepping on Bianca Belair a little bit as Bianca was trying to do commentary, and they're kind of gonna build the feud between those two. I can tell like that's gonna be the storyline, and I'm not really a fan of Bayley dressing like Rachel Maddow. I'm not really a fan of that. But what can you do? What can you do? She's got a lot of thigh meat too, man. I'm not going to complain about Bayley. She can dress however she wants, man. As long as she show it off. She knows what she's doing. All right. The next match. The United States Champion, Bobby Lashley, versus the Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn. So, Sami Zayn is going to be entering a feud with Daniel Bryan. He got pinned in an 8-man tag on SmackDown, which was absolutely stupid because Dolph Ziggler was in that match. And so was Bobby Roode. Neither one of them are going to be at Survivor Series. You really could have pinned either one of them. But Sami Zayn losing made sense because he had to have something to complain about when he confronted Daniel Bryan. And, him and Daniel Bryan kind of got into it when him dressing Daniel Bryan down about him, having to be forced into that match that he wasn't prepared for. And, he's the Intercontinental Champion, the most important champion in the company and all that type of stuff. And then Daniel Bryan smacked him. And, so their feud is probably going to be the feud going forward. And at least I think they're teasing it. I don't know whether Daniel Bryan is going to wrestle Roman Reigns first or Sami Zayn first. And I think that it's actually more likely for him to go after Sami Zayn first. Or actually, now that I think about it, on second thought, I think it'd probably be more likely for Daniel Bryan to end up going after Roman Reigns at TLC due to this sort of light feud that he's been having with Jey Uso. And but this match in particular, because they've just been showing off how dominant Lashley is. They've been doing that for like the past 14 years with the occasional hole of him falling into, but being made to look stupid every once in a while. They just love making Lashley look like he's the GOAT. They just won't push him beyond, the mid-card titles. But I definitely see Lashley winning this match. I mean, it's an easy match for Lashley to win. It's not a problem for Zayn to lose and then basically talk himself out of losing. I could also see Zayn pulling out some trickery and maybe winning by disqualification or something like that. But either way, I expect the match to be pretty good. I'm going to pick Lashley because my scorecard has SmackDown 4, Raw 3. So I got to stick to what I had. Okay, the next feud, the next match, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits versus the Raw Tag Team Champions, the New Day. This is going to be fantastic. I did not like the segment they did on Raw. On SmackDown, where you had New Day come out and cut these really long promos about just being on SmackDown and teasing that they're going to defend the tag team championships, and I didn't need that. I love the New Day. They're great, but we didn't need that. But this is the New Day essentially going to be able to pass the torch. They're going to lose this match and then likely lose the titles. So to the Hurt Business. So the Street Profits, all they do is win, which is what they said on SmackDown, and it's true. They do win a lot. They've cleaned out most of the Raw and SmackDown divisions, which is really sad because there are no tag teams. There really needs to be some tag teams for these guys to wrestle, because the Street Profits have been very, very good as characters, but they haven't had that much in the way of opponents. And this is a match you really could get 3 matches out of this. I hope they double back for this at maybe at WrestleMania, where they go again, Street Profits versus New Day. Like, that would be sweet. But I think the Street Profits are going to win this time, because I think the New Day are actually going to advocate for it. I don't see New Day feeling like they have to beat the Street Profits. I think the New Day actually put over the Wyatts. I think they also lost to the Shield. So the New Day are not made by winning big matches. They are made by being, adorable characters. I know that those are not words that should fit in wrestling, but we live in a different age of wrestling. We don't live in the smoky sportatoriums anymore. It's not Reunion Arena. This is not, this ain't the ECW arena. These guys are fucking adorable now. They crack jokes and they have, they're in video games and stuff like that. It's a completely different world. And that's how New Day gets over. They get over by winning a lot, sure, but they get over more through personality and being likable guys. And I see this match being, probably the best match on the card. Legit. I do think this will be the best match on the card. And I know that's a tall thing to say, because a lot of people are like, I can't wait for McIntyre and Reigns, and you're right. That's a big match. That's going to be like the Tyson Roy Jones joint, maybe. Depends. It's like if Tyson and Roy Jones were going to fight in their primes and not fight in the exhibition match when they're 50. But this match is like legit. The Street Profits are in their prime. Kofi and Xavier Woods ain't exactly over the hill. But Kofi has done enough that he doesn't need to beat these guys. And he knows that. So I don't think he would even try. This match will probably start the show, because it's so predictable that the New Day likely will put them over, because they're nice guys. The next match, Raw Women's Champion Asuka versus SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks. All right, so they had a face-to-face segment, which featured Asuka being goofy and saying words I didn't know what she was saying. And I like how they tied this into their rivalry from the summer. So this is going to be, quote unquote, the end of their rivalry from the summer. So because there was no clean winner in any one of their matches in the summer, this match is almost guaranteed to be a clean winner, because they're both baby faces. At least essentially they're both baby faces, even though Sasha Banks still has that sort of haughty attitude that comes with being a heel. But she's confident. That's what the boss character is, and it exudes confidence. And Asuka is still sort of the manic, also arrogant caricature she's been, where nobody's ready for Asuka, and she's dancing around and saying crazy stuff to people. And she really kind of frustrated and pissed off Sasha Banks in this whole. She pissed me off too, and I love Asuka. But I see that Sasha Banks is going to win this match. Now, the reason why I think Sasha Banks is going to win is because Asuka isn't really hurt by losing. There's also the opportunity for other people to get involved. Carmella attacked Sasha Banks for the 3rd straight week, of which Sasha Banks didn't say anything the first 2 times it happened. Like you would think, you get jumped from behind once, you would turn your attention to that person, but then you get a jump behind twice by that person, nothing. 3 times, you're still not gonna address this person that's been jumping you from behind 3 weeks in a row. I don't like that booking. That sucks. If you get jumped from behind once, you should be like, okay, whoever that rat bastard is that took me from behind, he about to get a problem. That's old school wrestling. You jump me from behind, I'm after you. Nowadays, you got to wait until you're done doing whatever you're doing now, and then you can only feud with one person at a time, which is dumb. But I do see that maybe, so you have Carmella possibly interfering as far as on the Sasha Banks side. You also have Mia Yim possibly interfering on the Raw side. Because Mia Yim attacked Dana Brooke, she's also been trash talking Asuka. It's likely that maybe they end up outside the ring, which I believe they did with the Charlotte and it was Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey, where Charlotte just got disqualified. I don't see them doing the exact same thing because I think Charlotte just hit her with a kendo stick. What I see this time is maybe they end up outside the ring fighting, and then out of nowhere here comes Carmella, and then here comes Mia Yim to attack Asuka. And then, you just have Mia Yim beat Asuka down and Carmella beat down Sasha Banks. And then everybody goes home with a double disqualification. That's stupid. It's likely to happen. But I'm not going to pick that option. I'm just going to throw that out there because I think that it's likely to happen. I do think that what's more likely to happen is that Sasha Banks is going to pin Asuka. Maybe with some type of roll-up. Do I think Asuka's gonna tap out in Sasha Banks' submission? I don't know, man. That would be crazy. That would be nuts. Because Asuka has been a character that doesn't really submit. Well, she submitted against Charlotte, but that was it. Did she submit against Becky Lynch? I think so. I think she might have. So, well, I shouldn't say that then. So I guess we could be looking at maybe Sasha Banks winning by submission. But I would not like that. I would not like that. And I don't like the idea of one of these champions going into their next feud with a huge loss hanging on them. And that's really kind of a problem, now that I think about it. Same thing for Sami Zayn and Lashley. Same thing for McIntyre and Reigns. And you really don't want your next feud, your champion walking into it with a huge loss dangling over their head because they lost to the opposite brand's champion. That's weird. But let's keep going. I'm gonna go with Sasha Banks. I'm gonna go about Sasha Banks by pinfall though. And the main event, I'm going to go Drew McIntyre, the WWE champion, versus Roman Reigns, the Universal champion. I almost said World Heavyweight champion. I lost my mind apparently. Right, that title does not exist anymore. So they had a contract signing that was amazing. It was amazing. So, for starters, they make Drew wait. He's sitting at the table. He's sitting at the table like a typical person would sit at a table. Roman Reigns sits at the head of the table, at the end of the table because he's the head of the table. And they put the belts, the championships, side by side at the other end of the table. And these two guys are just talking to each other. And the stuff that Roman Reigns was saying to Drew McIntyre, you do not talk to another grown man like that. You just don't. He said that he believed that he's like, I knew you could do it. I believed in you because I used to be where you were. I used to be in your shoes. Like he's big leaguing the hell out of Drew McIntyre. I'm pretty sure they're in the same age bracket. And I'm almost certain that Drew McIntyre actually been in the business longer than Roman Reigns. But because Roman's just got the big head. So he's like, it was great. He told him to sit under the learning tree, which is an Ernie Ladd line. Like he's talking to him like he's the big cat Ernie Ladd. Come sit under the learning tree. Oh my God. And then he said, I'm the tribal chief. The advisor advises me. You don't advise me. I advise you. Right? Because Drew McIntyre had the nerve, the audacity to give Roman Reigns some advice. And Roman Reigns don't need your advice, man. He's more successful than you. He don't need your advice. So then he says that Drew McIntyre was a secondary champion. That his belt is a prop. He's a stand-in. He's the guy that they call when he's busy. I was like, damn. Like, damn. Oh, boy. And then he says, later on, he says that, when you become the man that you want to be, you'll look in the mirror and you'll thank me for it. You'll thank me for this advice. You'll thank me for what I'm going to do to you, and you'll love me for it. He says, I'll love you. He said, you'll always be my favorite number 2. Wow. Now, oh boy. Now, WWE is not, they're not, now, normally, in normal situations, right, you would try to make your championships equal. And especially since your actual WWE championship is your 57-year, the actual champion of the company. The Universal title has only been around for a few years. It is essentially the World Heavyweight Championship. But I still enjoy it remember when Triple H and Bradshaw would have these conversations. And Triple H was like, I'm the World Heavyweight Champion. You're just the WWE Champion. And then Bradshaw was like, the WWE is the world. I was like, I love that. Like, that was great, right? Like, I like when they're competing. Now, they do need to have individual identities, but I do like that they're competing, and you're not really devaluing either title, because the WWE Championship isn't devalued by the creation of the Universal title. It's only devalued when they're on the same card, which they should never be on the same card. That's one thing about the brand split and the dual branded pay-per-views and stuff like that I don't like, is that you have 2 world champions on each card. You don't need but one of them titles. Like, since I went back and watched WCW, I used to see like that WCW International World title, and you will always ask the question, like, what the hell is that thing? And I do believe that's the thing that Bischoff had such a problem with. Like, he had no idea what the hell that thing meant. Because you had the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, and then you had that WCW International title, and nobody knows what the fuck that thing was. It was just another world title that Rick Rude carried around. And so we do need, but at least here they are identified as far as the Universal title being for SmackDown, the World WWE Championship being for Raw. That at least makes sense, okay? But you're not really devaluing the titles, except for when one of them has to open the show and the other one gets to close it, or one gets to be in the middle of the show and the other one gets the main event. Okay, I'm not a fan of that stuff. You could save that for the big 4 events, but I don't really see the titles as being competitive. I see the WWE Championship as the number 1 wrestling belt in the world, as far as I'm concerned. The Universal title is a secondary championship. Now, I'm glad that they flipped it by trying to make the Universal title more important, because you should. It's the underdog title in this situation. Just like they used to do with the World Heavyweight Championship. They used to try to make it as equal to the WWE title as they could by, putting them on last, making it, I believe they actually main evented more WrestleManias than the other title, that kind of thing. Like, they try to establish these world titles and differently. So, but I like that they are willing to let the belts compete against each other, because the WWE, the weird thing that they do, is what they want us to look at. They want us to look at Raw and SmackDown like the AFC and the NFC. That's a National Football League thing. There's divisions. The National Football League, or the National Football Conference, American Football Conference. Those 2 words mean the same thing. What nation, if you're not talking about America, right? So what world, if you're not talking about the WWE, what other world are you talking about? So, but it usually just ends up being left Twix and right Twix, because that's really all, because SmackDown is just basically Raw, and Raw is basically just SmackDown, just shorter, or just longer, I mean. And when you do a good job of giving the shows individual identities, the belts can compete. The champions can compete, and nobody is really hurt. So I don't think that this is a situation where any belt is going to be harmed by the loss. I think the champion is more hurt by the loss than the belt is. Drew McIntyre is going to lose this match. He's going to get beat. I don't think Drew, basically, just because he just won the title, that will suck. It will suck that Drew is going to probably lose this match, knowing that he just won the title. But the title itself is fine because the WWE Championship can take a loss. It's got incredible lineage. You put like a little bit of paint on it, it'll be all right. It's still the top championship in the world. You don't have to worry about it too much. But Roman Reigns is the top guy, and that's pretty much a fact. Roman Reigns is the top guy in the business. You can give him the Intercontinental title, it wouldn't matter. So, ultimately, I think SmackDown is going to win 4 of these matches, 4 of the 7 matches, and I think Raw will win 3 of the 7 matches. I'm very interested in the show, and I find it all to be very interesting. I do want them to actually start some storylines after this, but this is just basically an all-star game. It's like I said about Survivor Series before. This is essentially an all-star game. It's the Pro Bowl. It's nobody really is hurt by losing. Nobody's win. You don't win anything. You don't lose anything. But it is meaningful for the Survivor Series matches, and because there are going to be stories spinning out of those. And then there will likely be new challengers and all that type of stuff that will spin out of the Survivor Series matches. And I'm interested in that. You have the tag team champions in that one Survivor Series match. The women's tag team champions. They're likely will have to face or come out of it with some contenders. Maybe the Riot Squad will come out of there being the contenders for the women's tag team titles. That sounds fine to me. I like that idea. Maybe they'll have a ladder match or something like that at TLC. That'd be pretty cool. But we'll have to get there. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel if you can. I appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.